Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Hensey here, and we're going to do lesson 8-7 America Becomes a World Power. Objective 8 talks about explaining the various military and diplomatic relations to international developments over time. So, we're going to start first with the nuclear arms race. So, if you remember from last lesson, the United States under President Truman developed a policy called containment, which we're going to contain communism where it is, not allow it to spread. It'll burn through its resources and it'll be exhausted. When President Dwight Eisenhower replaces Truman, Eisenhower was a military man, he was a general. And he and President Kennedy, who follow Eisenhower, take a decidedly more aggressive approach to the Cold War than does Truman. Eisenhower announced what he called the new look foreign policy. It looks different from just containment, and it has two parts. One is brinksmanship, and the brink is the edge of something. So brinksmanship is a military strategy to push your enemy to the brink, like you're about to push them over, and that's going to force them to negotiate. So in terms of nuclear weapons, brinksmanship means we will engage the Soviet Union to the point where the finger is on the launch button, and that will force them to come to the table and negotiate with the United States or risk losing everything. It's a strategy where you're constantly living on the edge. The second was his policy of massive retaliation. And he said in Europe, if the Soviet Union does anything aggressive, the United States will empty its entire nuclear arsenal on the USSR. So we're not going to have a strategic response. We're just going to blow everything up in the Soviet Union if they become aggressive in Western Europe. So that was Eisenhower's, again, military mindset, much stronger approach to foreign policy into the Soviet Union. On his way out of office, Eisenhower did warn the American people of a development of a very dangerous thing he called the military-industrial complex. You see it over here. He said that the new defense industries, these military contractors who make weapons, along with the Department of Defense, who runs the U.S. military, have colluded or conspired together to create an irrational fear of the Cold War for Congress. And they're trying to scare Congress into buying more and more and more weapons. And he said the Department of Defense and the contractors are on the same side, telling the same story to Congress, who's relying on their information, and Congress is spending billions of dollars in weapons research that gets them more weapons and them more money. He said that the military-industrial complex is not only dangerous because of a plethora of weapons being produced, but it's also taking federal funding away from much-needed programs like education or healthcare, where it should be better spent. So Eisenhower left with that warning, and it was largely ignored by the American people. President Kennedy comes in. He was a military man, but not career military. Anyway, Kennedy takes a more liberal approach to foreign policy, and he calls it flexible response. He said that we're going to respond to the Soviet Union with the best response for that particular situation. In other words, no more massive retaliation. We're going to be much more strategic in how we respond to them. He did announce that there was a missile gap between the U.S. and USSR under Eisenhower, and that the Soviet Union had vastly, during this time, built up a nuclear arsenal that greatly outweighed what the United States had at its fingertips. Experts disputed his numbers, but he pushed that with the American people. And in response, he ordered a massive buildup of our nuclear arsenal. At its height, we'll be able to destroy all life on the planet 7 times over because of this nuclear arms race that develops as a result of fears initiated by this missile gap. Second, Kennedy announces a policy of mutually assured destruction. And that says that a nuclear attack by either of the two superpowers, US or USSR, will result in the other side unleashing its full arsenal of weapons and the destruction of all life on Earth. So mutual assured destruction means if either side uses nuclear weapons, all nuclear weapons will be used and all life on Earth will be destroyed. Talk about going to the brink. But that's a policy of what's called deterrence, DETERRENCE. Deterrence means we're going to make this huge threat so you don't do anything. It's kind of like when your mama says to you, you better not, and you don't want to find out what happens after not. Under Kennedy, the military-industrial complex continued to grow and expand in the United States and continue to be the largest source of federal spending in the budget. If you have questions about part one on the growth of the arms race, feel free to shoot me an email. And as always, have a great day.